Welcome to water supply and treatment engineering classes. Till now we covered 4 modules and now we are entering into 5th module. The 5th module syllabus is as per VTU. The name of the 5th module is collection and conveyance of water. Collection means we are collecting the water. From where? From source. Source you already know, surface sources and subsurface sources. Wells, galleries, they are all subsurfaces. And your lakes, streams, rivers, they are all surface sources. From surface sources, water is collected. Where it is collected? Collected into some reservoir. And after that, that is conveyed to treatment plant. In treatment plant, we will treat the water. Okay, after treating the treated water we will supply to distribution system. From the distribution system it will reach each and every individual population or factory or any industry or wherever you needed that water, it will be conveyed. Therefore the entire process of collection and conveyance of water is covered in this 5th module. Okay now, next, the entire syllabus I divided into some headings. The first heading is intake structure. Intake structure means what? The water is collected. This is the structure where the water is collected, and in this one we are studying types of intake structure, factors to be considered in selection of intake structures. Means what all factors we need to consider before selecting the intake structure, which is good, which type of intake structure is good, or where it should be placed, how much deep it should be placed. Now these all things we are studying. Next heading is the pumps. You already know, whenever you deal with the water, whenever you supply water from one point to another point, you require pump. Means not in all the cases. If the flow is gravitational flow is there, then it is not required. If you want to send the water from lower elevation to higher elevation, then you require pumps. Then we should get an idea that how many types of pumps are there and how they actually work and which is a good pump and for a particular project that you are going to study. And after that we are studying numerical problems. Numerical problems means, for example, there is some elevation, say 10 meter height. Then for that 10 meter height you are using some PVC pipes. Then through that pipe 10 meter elevation, if you want to send the water, then how many HP pump you need to purchase. Okay, this is that determination comes under numerical problems. Okay, now next heading, pipe appurtenances. No? Pipe appurtenances. Okay, now if you get very difficult to pronounce this or difficult to spell it when you are writing, then you can call pipe and other accessories. Understood now? Pipes and other accessories. Then in that accessories you will get a valves. You already know, you want to control the flow of the water through pipes, therefore you require valves. If is there any fire that breakouts comes near to the pipeline, then you should have fire hydrants. Then different type of pipe materials, which material is good for which place, okay, that you are going to study, and advantages and disadvantages of pipe materials. Then factors affecting pipe materials. In selection of pipe materials it is actually understood, means what all factors you need to consider. By considering them you select the pipe material, you know, that we will study. In the next heading we will study distribution system. Then the water which is collected and treated in the treatment plant. After treating that water you need to supply it to the distribution system. Again distribution system, there are some methods are there. Gravity distribution system means the water which will be flowing from one point to another point only due to gravity. Pumping means wherever some elevation is there, water cannot flow freely, gravity that freely, therefore you need to pump it forcibly, therefore pumping type of distribution system. Sometimes partially gravity, partially pumping systems are also required, that is your combined gravity and pumping system. Then after that, service reservoir. Service reservoir means after treated water will send to the service reservoir. That sometimes we will call it as a overhead tank also. Okay, and how to determine the capacity of that overhead tank, that also we will study. There are some numerical problems. Actually speaking, these are whatever we discussed till now. This is your fifth module syllabus. Now in the fifth module, they also mentioned that visit to intake structures means we need to take all the students to intake structures and show them. Water treatment plant, that also we need to do, and we need to make a report on working of each unit. Okay, this one actually while starting the semester only we have taken. I think we might be having a future forecast that our COVID may come, therefore we took you to the intake structures and water treatment plant also. We already visited. I think you people are making report on it, therefore this syllabus is completed. Next they say that design of water treatment units and distribution system with the population forecasting for the given city. Means this entire thing whatever they explained, it will be covered in water supply chapter of extensive survey project. Therefore, this we will not discuss in this fifth module. This one and this one we will skip it. Understood? This is all about syllabus. Now we will go one by one. Thank you. We discussed the syllabus now. Now we will go to first heading, that is intake structures. Introduction already given, but still we will see. See, I think you people are very familiar with this diagram. Wherever you go, wherever the water bodies are there, it might be lake, reservoir or flowing river, you might be having a very familiar with this figure. Even sometimes whenever you go to trip, you might be traveled here from here to here and you have visited here, clicked some selfies and all, and jumped from here to here for swimming purpose and all. These all things might be few of you done, but you need to go inside. What is there inside, that we need to observe. That is the task of a civil engineer. Civil engineer only we can go inside and study well, otherwise the people will just take a selfie and go away, right? We civil engineers, we need to enter inside and we need to check how exactly this structure and what this structure is called, we need to think, that is called as an intake structure. This intake structure meaning is intake means what, we are taking it in, something means what, water we need to take it in, therefore it is called as intake. And it is built, this is RCC structure, therefore it is called as structure, intake structure. Now the basic structure, the definition, it reads like this. The basic structure of an intake structure is to help safety withdrawing water. Safety withdrawing water means you need to withdraw water but not randomly, you should be very safely, you need to bring. What is this safety means? What, whenever you that withdraw the water from water body to the intake structure, clean water should come. There should not be any pollutions should happen, that while collecting, that should not happen. Therefore, safety withdrawing water from source over a predetermined range of pool level. Here inside one level will be maintained, that is called as a predetermined range of pool level. Then to discharge this water into withdrawal conduits. Withdrawal conduits means what? This is a large diameter pipes. Where is the large diameter pipes in this figure? That you cannot see because it will be inside. It will be inside from this end to this end. Inside it is buried into the soil. That is a large diameter pipes are called as conduits, and that is used for withdrawal. Therefore, they are called as withdrawal conduits, through which it flows up to a water treatment plant. This water which will flow through that conduits to the water treatment plant. Here in water treatment plant, what we do, we will treat water. We are welcoming water. might be the water may have a birthday, therefore we need to give some treat to the water. After treating, we will drink that water. Okay, you also give treat, no, to your friends. You take every that your friends to some canteen or somewhere, and after that you give treat. That is called as a treatment. Like that we are doing some treatment to the water. Okay na? Now, types of intake structures according to the types of source. Now, depending on the type of sources, how many types of sources are there? Surface source and subsurface source. Surface source means what? Canal is a surface source, then lake is a surface source, reservoir, river, these are all surface source. Means for them intake structures will be something different. And subsurface, for example, wells are there, infiltration galleries are there, aquifers are there, they are all subsurface sources. For them intake structure will be different, therefore we have made according to the type of sources. Then what are those? River intake, you can see the figure here, the water is flowing from one point to another point, and here one structure is made. This is called as intake structure. When water is flowing, some part of the water will enter inside the intake structure, and that will be allowed to treatment. Why to the treatment? For the treating it, we need to treat the water because it is the birthday boy. Now after that, in the river intake we have got two types: single well, twin well intake. That I will explain by taking some figure. Okay, then canal intake. This is the canal. The canal is moving from one end to other end, and in between, across the canal, you construct one intake structure, and from there you collect the water and send it to treatment plant. Then after that, you will have a reservoir intake. This is a complete reservoir, and in that reservoir you will identify one particular point. There you will construct the intake structure. Now again the question comes, where to select that point, where exactly the intake structure should be built. That factors we will study later. There are some common. Next, lake intake. Lake intake means this is a lake, and here you found that these lake waters are very good, and you can supply it to the population or wherever it is required. Then you need to collect that water. For that you require intake structure. That is called as a lake intake structure. Understood? According to the type of sources, river intake ಎರಡು, channel intake, river reservoir intake, lake intake. Over. Next we'll go. Here in the diagram, as I said, no, the few people, they will come and they stand here and take a selfie and go. But you people are a civil engineering, therefore you need to enter inside the intake structure and you need to observe each and everything. Therefore I draw this figure. Here you can see section of a single well type of river intake. What they said? Single well type. Single well means only one well is there here, to be located across an offtake channel or approach channel. Offtake channel or approach channel means sometimes if the river is very big, then what you need to do? You need to make one offtake channel. From the river you need to make one small canal diverting, that is, you can call it the approach channel. There you need to build this well. This is a single well. We'll see what all there here. You can see here some high flood level is there, HFL, that is your maximum water level. This much it may come. If a water level is this much, that water will pass through this port. Here one port is made, no? The water will enter inside the well. Okay, now if water level is not with a high flood level, then if it is a normal water level, then also one more port is made here. From there water will enter. Then if a minimum water level, minimum means in summer, okay, there is no water, there is no rain, that this therefore water is not there in the river, but still minimum level you need to identify, and there you need to make one opening, and from there it will enter. Okay, now means even in the summer season also, this intake structure should have some water. From that water it is pumped. This is called as a strainer. This is connected to one pump, and here some screens will be there. Screens. Why screens? Because it is a river. In the river the debris, leaves, branches, bushes, stones, everything will be there. Those all things will come and dump here. Whenever you suck the water from the pump, then they should be retained here, and only pure water should come here. Therefore this pump is connected with the strainer, and strainer is connected with the screen. That water comes here, and this is called as a pump. and here you will make a small room that is called as a pump room. You can call in Kannada it is called as a pampanamane, and from that water it is connected and it is supplied to the city, and so many units will come here. Understood? These two are windows so that ventilation should happen for the person who is operating this one. Here truss arrangement is made. Okay, now this is your single well river intake. Now coming to the what, twin well or double well section of typical twin well type of river intake. This is also river intake. Then you will be having a maximum pool fluid level, maximum water level, minimum water level, normal water level, everything will be same. But here we will see two types of what, wells. Why it is made? Might be here more dirt water is there, and that water is filtered through this bar screens, and that is filtered through this fine screens, and that water is connected to the through withdrawal conduits, and that is allowed to the sump well. Understood? And one more might be some possibility like here that pumpanamane pump room may not be possible to pump the water from here to there, or it may become very expensive. Therefore they have made two wells. One well collecting the water and conveying to the sump well, and in the sump well the water somewhat it will be pure, and that water is pumped through pump and to the city. Understood? Now we'll go each and every words whatever they are there. Here see minimum water level during summer. This level is a during summer, and one port is there. Here the water can enter, means even in summer also you can get a water into intake structure. River water level, see this is the normal river water level. Don't think that this is very small. You can think that it is about 10 meter 50 meter based on the river. Okay, here it is shown very small. Then after that you can see here bar screen is there. Very big matters like trees, bushes, plastic stick, that you will be removed here, and small screens, small screens also removes here, and this is a large diameter pipe, therefore it is called as a conduit. And here you can say 1 2 3 silt zones. Silt zones means if any silts are there, that can be collected here. If you provide this conduit here only, then all silts will come and settle here, therefore small margin is given, and this is the concrete, everything is given. This is a intake chamber or intake well or intake inlet well, and this is called a sump well or jack well. Okay, now this is all about what, twin well typical section. Coming to canal intake well, this is what canal intake well means. In the canal, see where is the canal here, see this is one embankment, and here one slope is there, and here water is there. This is the canal bed, means here the water is there, canal bed, and this is the slope of the one's bank, canal bank, and this is the embankment, right? Now see this intake structure is somewhat inserted into the slope. There you can see the level FSL, maximum water level, then normal water level, minimum water level. Yeah, wherever the minimum water level is there, there you make one port, from that water can enter through this one. Here one coarse screen is made so that the bigger materials can be removed, then water will come here, then that water here small arrangement is there. See very important it is. Here fine screen is given, and water will enter inside, and it will come like this. Here you see inlet valve is there. Inlet valve means if you don't want water, then you can close this one. If you want water, then you can open it. Then how to open? You cannot swim inside and come and open this one. No, you need to operate it from the top. Valve operating mechanism, stand here and operate, don't jump and swim here and operate that valve. Okay, now one thing you need to understand, that if a water level is this and more than that, then only water will enter inside and come out. If water level is lesser than that, you won't get it. So therefore you fix this level based on your requirement, based on the minimum water level in the canal. Understood? Okay, this is what your canal intake. Now coming to the second part, that according to the position of intake, where you are putting your intake, based on position of intake we are dividing the intakes. They are submerged intake, means it is inside the water, and exposed intake means it is exposed outside the water. Okay, now see, this is your simple concrete block, submerged intake. This is a submerged intake. Why submerged intake? We are not seeing this one, we are seeing here that one structure is there which is inside it is, and here the conduit is also submerged inside. You cannot see from top, it is inside. Therefore everything is inside. See, the water level is there, water will come, this is the screen, and here some dimensions are given, 12 mm to 50 mm diameter, like that. Don't worry about this, because the source may have different type of waste materials, waste particles and their sizes, and based on the sizes you need to decide the screen size. Okay, it's not like everywhere you give 12 mm by 50 mm steel bars of 15 mm centimeters center to center. No. Okay, it is based on the design. Okay, then after that water will come here and it will be stored in the sump well, and through the sump well strainer is there. From the strainer come to the pump up, from the pump it will go to the treatment plant where you will give a treat. Understood? Now coming to rock filled timber crib submerged intake. Rock filled timber crib. Here see, here one arrangement is made. This is a rock filled. Even some water can filter through this rock bed and come here, and here you will get some more clean water. That clean water is coming through this pipe. This pipe is submerged inside the water and submerged inside the soil also. Therefore this entire structure is called as a submerged intake structure. Understood? Okay. Now according to the presence of water in the tower, according to the presence of water, where that water is there inside the intake, based on that wet intake and dry intake. We'll see the figure. See here, water level is here, reservoir level is here, and that water comes through this opening and this opening. Here two openings are made. They said that gate controlled ports are opening in the shaft. They are controlled. You can control it, means you can close it and open it whenever required. Then the water will starts entering here. Whenever the water level is very low in the reservoir, water will start entering here. If the water level is very high, then it will start entering into both the ports. The water is entered. Then again that one again circular one more arrangement is made, and from that water will again enter inside. There are two entries are there. No, there are two entries are there. Then after that, why these two entries are made? So that you can filter it more and more. Here also you can put a screen, here also put a screen, again here put a screen, here put a screen. Like that you can have a water inside, and that water is sent through a withdrawal conduit to the treatment plant. Okay, now this is what a wet intake structure. Why? Because this actually this is called as an intake structure. This outer cover is not called as intake. This is called as an intake structure, where the water is entered into the outer shell first, and after that it will enter into the inner cell. From the inner cell it will pass through withdrawal conduits, thereby it will go to treatment plant. Therefore it is called as a wet type intake structure. The second one is a dry intake structure. Dry intake structure means it is not completely dry. It is also inside the water only, it will be wet only, but it is dry intake structure. Why? Because compared to that one. Now you can see here the water is directly entering into the inside chamber, and the water entered inside the chamber, that will directly go to the withdrawal conduit. Okay, it will go to the withdrawal conduit and there to the treatment plant. This is the small difference between the wet and dry intakes. This is all about intake structures. Now we'll come to the factors to be considered in selection of intake structures. What all factors we need to see, and we need to select the intake structures. Understood? Very important. See here, the site should be near to the treatment plant. What is there here? That is obviously no, that site, whatever the site you are selecting for intake structure, it should be near to the treatment plant, of course, so that you can reduce the cost, you can reduce the energy, you can reduce the process or something, you can save some time, so that it will be good. Must be located in purer zone, of course. This is also of course. हम पागल है क्या, जहाँ पे गलीज है वहाँ पे इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर बनाए? नहीं, हमको प्योर वाटर चाहिए, क्योंकि intake structure, that treatment plant, we can put a less effort so that we can filter the water. Therefore the intake structure should be in the purer zone, should not be located at the downstream ऑब्वियसली डाउनस्ट्रीम में क्या हो जाएगा, पानी वहां से आ जाएगा, देन इट विल बी विथ अ वेरी हाई speed and erosion and mud that will be going through the downstream side. Upstream side, what happens, the water will be with the very that what a mild level it will be there, शांत रहता है वाटर अपस्ट्रीम साइड पे. डाउनस्ट्रीम साइड पे क्या रहता है, उसका वेलोसिटी ज़्यादा रहता है, इसलिए वो कवरिंग भी हो सकता है ना. therefore always it should be mentioned we at upstream side, should not be located at a downstream side, or in the vicinity of point of disposal of waste water. तो ये भी कॉमन सेंस है ना, जहाँ पे वेस्ट वाटर डिस्पोजल हो रहा है वहाँ पे इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर बना है, तो इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर में पूरा वेस्ट वाटर आ जाएगा, उसको ट्रीट करने में ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा. देयरफॉर आपने क्या करना चाहिए, विसिनिटी ऑफ पॉइंट ऑफ डिस्पोजल वेस्ट वाटर कहाँ पे रहता है वहाँ पे इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर नहीं बनाना. बनाना खेला. ओके. should not be located near navigation channel. Navigation channel, water is navigated from one direction to another direction. Okay, water is navigated there. If you provide intake structure, again the erosion will come, and your water will be mixed with lot of dirt, dust, soil. Therefore again treatment requires lot of effort. Therefore you should not provide near the navigation channel. Then should be located, now should be located from where one can draw even during the driest period of the year. ये भी कॉमन सेंस है ना. you should locate the intake structure to the lowest point, so that even in the summer season, even in the driest period of a year, you should get the water from the intake structure. The site should be such as to permit greater withdrawal of water ever during driest period of the year. Same point इसको ही कुछ उल्टा पुल्टा करके लिखा इधर है ना. नेक्स्ट, इंटेक शुड बी इजीली एसेसिबल ड्यूरिंग फ्लड्स. हाँ, दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ऐसा नहीं कि फ्लड आ गया पूरा इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर अंदर सिंक हो गया. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. even in terms of floods, you should assess the water easily. That in that way you need to prepare intake structures. These are the factors, very important, and even you can use your common sense and you can write. One common sense says that should be near to the treatment plant so that you can reduce the cost, and the second it says that purer zone so that you can reduce the efforts applied in the treatment plant, and the third one it says that downstream के साइड पे नहीं रहना चाहिए, जहाँ पे वेस्ट वाटर का डिस्पोजल रहता है वहाँ पे नहीं रहना चाहिए. शुड नॉट बी लोकेटेड नियर नेविगेशन चैनल्स, नेविगेट जहाँ पे करते हैं वहाँ पे नहीं रहना चाहिए. शुड बी लोकेटेड फ्रॉम वेयर वन कैन ड्रॉ ड्राइएस्ट पीरियड ऑफ द ईयर, मतलब समर में भी आपको पानी मिलना चाहिए. ऐसे करना, इसको ही ऊपर करके इधर लिखा है. और फ्लड में भी आपका इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर से पानी सप्लाई होते रहना चाहिए. फ्लड आ गया तो भी पानी इंटेक स्ट्रक्चर में नहीं आया, ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. दीज आल थिंग्स यू नीड टू कंसिडर. Okay, module 5. In this one syllabus we studied in the last class. Now we are entering and studying pumps, types of pumps with working principles, numerical problems. Numerical problems we will cover in other day. In this today we will cover only types of pumps and their working principles. Okay now, okay, we'll go to the pumps. See, in Kannada, two poets are there, very famous poets. Who are those? ಪಂಪ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ಪಂಪ. ರನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿರಿ. ಹಾಂ, ವೆರ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಯೂಸ್ ಅ ಪಂಪ್ ದೆನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ವಿಲ್ ರನ್, ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಪಂಪ ರನ್ನ. ಪಂಪ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ರನ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್, ಟು ರನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಟು ರನ್ ವೆರಿ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಲೋವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲೇಷನ್ ಟು ದ ಹೈಯರ್ ಲೆವೆಲೇಷನ್. ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ಪಂಪ ರನ್ನ, ದೇರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದೇರ್, ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದೆಮ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, why pump is required? Tell me. Why pump is required? Because water is not flowing from because water cannot flow from lower elevation to the higher elevation. Okay, therefore you need to make it forcibly to flow from lower elevation to the higher elevation. Therefore you require pump. Okay, now see in this figure, here source is there. From the source you need to send water to the treatment plant. From the water treatment plant it should come to the reservoir, service reservoir. From the service reservoir the water should come to the distribution system. Think that the water source is at the higher elevation and your treatment plant is in the lower elevation, and your service reservoir is again lower elevation, and distribution system is also in the lower elevation. Then you don't require pump. Okay, because water will run from higher elevation to the lower elevation without any external energy. The water will come from here to here, gravity by gravity, from here to here by gravity, from here to here by gravity. In such cases we avoid service reservoir of this type. Okay, we will not use this type of service reservoir. We will make our service reservoir at the hill station on the ground only. Then water will be stored here and that water will be supplied to the distribution system. Okay, means in this figure, for this condition pumps are not required. Now see here, the source of water is at one level and treatment level is at a higher level. Then what you need to do, you require pump at this situation. Then once the water is reached the water treatment plant, then from there service reservoir it may go with the gravity because it is in a lower elevation. Then it will come like this without any pumps design. Okay, here only in this figure only here that pumps are required. Common sense. Next, see here, your source is at the lower elevation and water treatment plant is at the higher elevation, and pumps is required from here to here. Then from treatment plant to the reservoir, then again pump is required from here to here. Then from here to here you don't require any pump. Why? Because this is in the higher elevation and you can supply it. Very 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 important, you should never use pumps from service reservoir to the distribution system. Always we should prefer, I'm not saying that you should, okay, you should prefer gravity flow to the distribution system. Therefore if you are not getting any particular a good amount of elevation to supply gravity flow, then you construct one overhead tank. Then you pump the water to the overhead tank, store here that clean water. Then from overhead tank you supply through gravity only. Only in exceptional cases you should use pumps for distribution system. Understood? Okay, always for distribution system, always from overhead tank, from service reservoir to the distribution tank, you should be, it should be gravity flow. Okay, now you came to know that where that pumps are required. Pumps are required to transfer the water from lower elevation to the higher elevation. It might be in between source to the treatment plant, or it might be in between treatment plant to the service reservoir. In exceptional cases, from service reservoir to the distribution system. In exceptional, some other exceptional cases, in distribution system also, from one branch to the other branch you can use. Okay. Now pump. What is a pump? Pump is a device used to move fluids such as liquids, gases, slurries. It increases mechanical energy of the fluid. Mechanical energy, it will increase its energy. Then additional energy can be used to increase velocity, pressure, elevation. Okay, means water, what we do to the water, we will water को हम क्या करेंगे, उसको मोटिवेट करेंगे. ये तुम बहुत अच्छे हो, तुम ऐसे हो, तुम ऐसे हो, ऐसे हम उसको बहुत मोटिवेट करेंगे पंप लगा के. तो जब पंप करेंगे तो क्या हो जाएगा, लोअर एलिवेशन टू हायर एलिवेशन को फ्लो हो जाएगा. दिस इज व्हाट द वर्क ऑफ द पंप. and not only to send it from one point to another point, from lower elevation to the higher elevation, even from higher elevation to the lower elevation also you can use a pump. Huh? Why? Think. Water is flowing from higher elevation to the lower elevation, but still you can use a pump. Why? To increase velocity through gravity. It may come with slow velocity, you want to have a high velocity, pump it. Then to increase the pressure, for example, when you wash a car, okay, your syntax is at your head means not in your head, at your top of the building. Your syntax is at the top of the building. Your car will be always obviously stands in the ground. Then you want to wash the car, then what you do, you connect the pipe to the syntax and the water will come to the pipe and that water will used for the car wash. But you want pressure, then what to do, you will press the pipe, or otherwise you put some pump, small pump you put there and you suck the water from the syntax. Even it is in the higher elevation, but you are sucking that what energy will be more, therefore the more fast that water will come and you can clean your car. Understood? Therefore the pumps are even required. Sometimes even in some for example ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂತಾರ car washing shops, there they use a pump. There it is not required to transfer water from higher elevation, lower to higher, but still they use a pump. Obviously the third point is the elevation. Wherever the elevation difference is there, then you can use a pump. Then pumps are divided into mainly two types: positive displacement pump and the second one is a dynamic pump. Dynamic pumps, positive displacement pumps. Positive displacement pumps are further divided into rotary displacement pumps and reciprocated displacement pumps. Like that, in dynamic pumps also divided into two parts: centrifugal dynamic pumps, axial dynamic pumps. Okay now, next, some other pumps are there which are not included in this tree. They are jet pumps, hydraulic rams. Okay, they have some their own particular applications, there they will use it, but these we will not study. We will study only displacement pumps, dynamic pumps, rotary, reciprocating and centrifugal and axial pumps. Okay now, okay. Come to the rotary pumps. Here see, I will directly come to the diagram and explain. Okay, here one pump pipe is there and here one chamber is made. Inside the chamber two wheels are there. These two wheels will be continuously rotating. When they rotate, the water, when it comes in contact with this wheel, that water will be displaced from one point to another point. Here we are not we are not inducing energy into the water, we are just displacing the water from one place to another place. We are just displacing the water. Then when water is displaced from one end, this, if water is there here and it is displaced here, then here some vacuum will be created. Then to fulfill this vacuum, then another water will come, then this is again displaced, vacuum created, water will come, again displaced, vacuum created, water will come, again displaced, vacuum created, water will come, and continue this one till you get a good amount of water. Then here in this chamber you may put rotaries, or you may put some arrangements shown in the figure. Here some arrangements is shown here, it is called as internal gear pump. Here some arrangements, vanes are shown here, therefore it is called as vane pump, and here lobes are used, therefore lobe pump. This is the external gear pump. Understood? There are again two or three types of pump. Single rotary, only one rotating that impeller you can put, or multiple rotary, like that also you can use it. Okay, displacement pump means what? Just you are displacing the water from one place to another place. When you displace the water from one place to another place, the earlier place there vacuum will be created. There to fulfill the vacuum, the another water will come and sit there, and again that is displaced. Okay, we are not inducing any external energy into the water. Positive displacement pumps Then we have already got this reciprocating pump and rotary pump, and we will see reciprocating pump. What is this reciprocating pump? A best example is your borewell. Okay, borewell, you put you there will be one arm, and that arm will you will operate up and down, up and down, then water will come. No, then how that will come? That is because of reciprocatory displacement pump. In reciprocatory displacement pump, we will see one piston. Okay, this piston will be moving front and back, front and back, front and back, therefore it is called as reciprocating. Okay, see, we will understand the working procedure of this pump. Here water level is there. First water level will be here, then water level will be here, and here what happens, this way we will drag it back with the help of this crank. Here one ram will be there, we will rotate it and we will pull this piston back. When we pull this piston back, then here one vacuum will be created. When this vacuum creates, this suction valve will open. When this suction valve opens, the water will come and fulfill this vacuum. When that vacuum, when that water is filled here, entire thing, then after that I will close this suction valve. When this suction valve is closed, then with the help of this arm we will press it. When we press it, this valve is closed, this is opened, therefore water will come and deliver to the required place. If you want, you can go through this one link is shown here, there they have explained by animation. You can go through that reciprocating displacement pump, how it works exactly. Okay, now dynamic pump. In dynamic pump we have a centrifugal pump. This pump generates, very important, generates high rotational velocities, then converts resulting kinetic energy of the liquid to the pressure energy. पानी को बहुत घुमा लेते हो. When they rotate the water in very high speed, then the water's kinetic energy converts into pressure energy. That by the pressure energy it can move from one level to the higher to the other level. Here we will be having two important parts there. One is a impeller and the second one is a casing. Okay, then uses you can it is listed here. Centrifugal pumps are generally used where high flow rates and moderate head increase are required. Very important. Generally where it is required, where high flow rate is required. फ्लो ज़्यादा होना चाहिए, लेकिन मॉडरेट हेड इंक्रीज आर रिक्वायर्ड. आपका हेड इंक्रीज कम है, ओके, बट मतलब ज़्यादा है लेकिन उतना ज़्यादा नहीं, लिटिल इज देयर, देन बट योर डिस्चार्ज शुड बी मोर. ओके ना. देन कैन हैंडल फ्लूइड्स कंटेनिंग सस्पेंडेड सॉलिड्स. मतलब सेंट्रीफ्यूगल पंप्स यू कैन यूज इट फॉर पंपिंग द सीवेज वाटर आल्सो, and some if the water is muddy, there also you can use centrifugal pumps. So next, centrifugal pumps का एक working procedure you can see here. The water will be coming to the suction eye. Suction eye means here some vacuum will be created, water will come here. Then when water comes here, it will continuously rotating. When this is rotating, then water will flow to the upper end. Okay. Impellers, you can have a different shapes of impellers. This is the open impeller, and this is a semi-open impeller, and this is a closed impeller. Okay. Now coming to the next type of pump, that is the axial flow pump. Axial flow pumps are always used when the pipe is in straight. Okay, water is displaced in a straight portion. Okay, see here one motor is there, that motor one shaft is there, shaft is connected to some blades. This motor rotates this one, therefore this will be continuously rotating. When it is continuously rotating, water which comes in contact with this one, then it will come with very high velocity, and that velocity converted to pressure. Because of the pressure, it will go to the higher elevation. This is called as axial flow pumps. Now this diagram is very important. Okay, now see, this is a water existing water level, and this is a desired water level. You want to pump the water from here to here. Okay, then means the total head required to transfer water from here to here is this one. You can measure it from this end to the this end. This is called as a total head. But the position of the pump, based on that, we will divide this total head into two different heads. One is a suction head and second one is the static delivery head. If the pump is situated at this point, then this pump has to suck the water from here to here. Therefore, that is called as a suction head. And after that, that pump has to push the water from here to here. Therefore, it is called as a delivery head. Understood? If you put this pump at this level, then we can say that no suction is required, only pushing is required. Okay, now if this pump is situated at this position, okay, then what? Only suction is required, pushing is not required. Best example is, if your pump is at the ground floor, then you are pushing the water to the higher floors, then delivery head will be more, suction head will be less. Think that your pump is situated in the top floor and water tank is at the bottom. Then you are pumping the water from lower water tank to the top water tank, to the syntax. Then what you need to do, what it happens, there suction head will be more. Okay, na? Therefore the pump design will be done based to the total head. This total head is divided into two parts, suction head and delivery head. Apart from that, there will be some energy losses when the water is flowing through the pipe. It might be a friction loss, or it might be a bent loss, or it might be some any other obstacle losses. That also we need to consider when we design a pump. That I will consider, that I will teach you when I take numericals. Okay now. Thank you. Magitu. Next, we will go to pipe appurtenances, pipe accessories, valves, fire hydrants, different pipe materials, and factors affecting pipe material. Selection of pipe materials. This we will study now. Distribution system. This is what distribution. No. Introduction. Okay. We are studying about pipes. No? Why pipes are required? Pipes are required to transfer fluid from one place to other place. Okay. How pipes will be looking? What is the shape of the pipe? Usually they will be circular in shape. Even some other pipes are there, square pipes, rectangular pipes, and what, oval shape, egg shape. There are so many types of pipes are there, but usually for water supply scheme we will use circular pipes. Introduction. While handling water through pipes, to control the flow of water. To control the flow of water means what? It might be a direction, it might be velocity, it might be discharge, it might be pressure. That is what your control of water, flow of water. For preventing leakage, okay, there will be some leakages in joints, in bends, in twists there, and other purposes in water supply system. We will use some apparatus, some accessories. They are called as appurtenances. Okay, na? The distribution pipes are provided with various pipe accessories so as to make distribution of water easy and effective. Regarding pipe, you know, pipe means what? It is a continuous cylinder and with some diameter, that you know. But accessories used in pipes are very important, that we are covering in this lecture. What is the necessity of studying this accessories? Okay, to make the distribution of water easy and effective, है ना, easy and effective. For example, you cannot provide water from one point to another point only by straight pipes. No, you have to divert it, you have to bend it. Bend maybe 45 degree, 30 degree, for 90 degree you turn. Oh, so therefore you need to bend the pipe so that it can be supplied easily to avoid the wastage and leakage of water. Now you bend the pipe. Whenever you bend, you will use some bent, you will attach bent, and you will fix some using gum and that and this. Then there will be some leakages. To avoid that one, then you will be having some other appearances, you know. Therefore that is a necessity to change the direction of water in the pipeline that I explained, to make efficient use of water, to control the flow of water in opposite direction in pipe. Okay, sometimes you need to control the flow of water. Say for example, water is flowing from one direction to the other direction. When power off, when power is put off, then motor will be stopped. When that motor is stopped, then water may come reverse direction. To avoid that one, you need to use some accessories. They are called as valves, they also comes under this chapter. Then first heading is a valves. What are valves? Valves are mechanical devices that control the flow and pressure within a system of process. Okay, there are some devices. There are many types of valves are there. Those devices we are using to control the flow. Okay. In water works practice, to control the flow of water, to regulate pressure, to release or to admit air, prevent flow of water in opposite direction, valves are required. Then these are, we can call it as a functions of valves. Okay, that listed again, but here also it is explained. You can see here functions of valves. What are the functions of valves? Stopping and starting flow. Okay, water is pumping. Whenever you don't want water, you need to stop that flow, then stopping. When you want to water, then you can start it, just like a tap is also one valve. Then second one is reduce or increase the flow. If you want more water, more discharge, then operate the valve. If you want less discharge, operate the valve. Then controlling the direction of flow, one way direction. Water can move from one point to other point in one direction only. Okay, it should not come in opposite direction. That also you can control it by valves. Then regulating a flow or process pressure, regulating a flow or pressure. Okay, you can regulate that one, just how you regulate the regulator will be there, no, for fan, no, you can increase the fan, decrease the fan. What that regulator will do, that will regulate the flow of current. The same way we will be having some regulators. By using those regulators, we can regulate the flow of water. Okay na? Then relieve a pipe system of a certain pressure. Sometimes what happens, in the pipe there will be more pressure, you want to release some pressure. If you maintain that pressure, the pipe may burst. Therefore, to release the pressure, you may use accessories, valves. Now, types of valves. What are the types? Depending on different situation requirements, different types of valves are used in the water supply system. Okay, now they are sluice valves, commonly called as stop valve; chuck valves, commonly called as a reflex valve; air relief valve, commonly called as a float valve; drain valve, commonly called as the blow off valve; zero velocity valve, score valve, ball valve, fire hydrants. These are types of valves. Very important to fix the question for your examination. Now we'll see one by one. See this is called a sluice valve or stop valve. These are sometimes known as a gate valve. You can see this figure here. You can connect one pipe here and here. Then tell me, what is the size of this figure? You can get it in various sizes. Say this diameter may be about 10 centimeter. Then this valve will be a small valve. You can rotate it with by one single by your arm. You can rotate it. If it is a half meter diameter big valve, sometimes it will be about 2 meter 3 meter diameter pipe also you can connect, and you can have a very very big valve. For example, we get in news from Kaveri river. These many TMC of water is released from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. Then it is released means what? Some valve is operated and water is released. Then the water, if it is moving from big conduits, big diameter pipes, then to control that one you are using some valves. They are your sluice valves. We'll read some points. This is generally used to control the flow in the pipe. When there is a repair needed in the pipe, this valve closes the supply of water beyond the wall in the pipeline. Obviously, if water is coming this end and this end you have a repair in the pipe, then you want to stop the water, therefore you close it, you rotate it, it will go inside and it will close it. This is made of cast iron having a brass or stainless steel mounting at its end fitted with a pipe. This is usually made up of cast iron. Okay, and this end, whatever it is there, this will be made up of stainless steel so that the corrosion should not happen. A circular wedge shaped disc attached to the end of the threaded spindle passing through the gland. I will show you in the next figure. See here, this is a wedge shaped spindle here, and you will rotate here, and there will be some screws here. Through the gripping it will enter inside and it will stop the flow. Okay, this is a example of sluice valve. The entire supply system is divided into blocks by providing these valves at appropriate places. Okay, if a continuous pipeline is there, then you can provide this valves for a regular interval so that you can divide the total supply into some blocks. These are provided in straight pipelines at 150 to 200 meter intervals. When two pipelines intersect, valves are fixed in both sides of intersection. Okay, if a pipeline is continuous and straight, then every 150 or 200 meter interval you can provide it. Or if any pipeline is intersected like this, then at the junction also you can provide these valves. For long straight main sluice valves, mains means what? Again, a large diameter pipes. Very large diameter pipes are called as conduits. Small large diameter pipes are called as mains, and still smaller they are called just pipes. Okay. Then for long straight mains, sluice valves can be installed at a distance 1 kilometer also to divide the pipe into different sections. Dividing the water into different sections, different blocks is very important so that you can arrest the pressure. Okay, if you provide one continuous pipe from kilometers together without any sluice valve, then if any pressure builds at one point, then it will affect the entire pipe system throughout the kilometers together distance. Therefore, always we should break the pressure. Therefore, we need to provide sluice valves. Chuck valves. Chuck valves best example is your cycle pump. You know cycle pump? You blow air into the pump, but you cannot take when you blow air into the tube, that air will go inside, but that entered air will not come outside. Means we can say it is a one-way valve. One-way valve means only it can go inside, but in opposite direction it won't come. In that way, if we design, that is called as a check valve. Where it is required? Usually when you supply water from ground level to the top level syntax through a motor. Okay, in motor this valve will be provided. When you stop the motor, then what happens? Water will not flow from higher to the lower. In motor only one way direction will be allowed. It will move in one direction. The other direction it arrests. How it arrests? You can see the figure here. One pivot is made here, one hinge is made here. When water comes here, it hits this valve and it opens, then water flows like this. If by chance if any water is coming like this, then that water hits this in other direction and it will come and strike to this bottom and it stops. If you have a branch like this branch is opened, then water will come like this and go like this. It won't go in the other direction, that coming direction. This is done by check valve. You can read this one, pause the video and read this one. Then air relief valve. Air relief valve, very important. As I said that if a kilometer together a pipe is there, if any air bubble enters inside, that air bubble it has to escape it. That air bubble should escape, but you have to give some opportunity to escape that air bubble. Therefore these valves are made. Okay, whenever the water is flowing through this water pipe, then if a air bubble is there, then when it comes to the near to this valve chamber, then it will come to this one, and here one float will be made. When air bubble comes, then this float comes down, then air bubble escapes. Okay, this air bubble escapes. When there is no air bubble, then only the pure incompressible fluid is there, then this water will come here and it will this float will come and stick to the opening, so that water will not go like this, only air can be passed. Okay, this is called as air relief valve, also called as a float valve. Okay, drain valve. Drain valve or blow off valve. These valves are called as washout valves. Drain valves means if you on this one, you will get a huge amount of pressure. Through that you can drain all the water. Okay, all the water. This is used. Usually you know this one. Usually you will be operating this one. You can open and close this one. Then drain valves are this one. What is that? Provide all dead ends. It will be always provided at the dead ends and depression of the pipelines to drain out the waste water. There are ordinary valves. These are ordinary valves operated by hands. Okay, they will be ordinary valves, just close and open valves. Zero velocity valves, very important. Zero velocity valves. Knocking or otherwise sudden impact will happen whenever you go to bathroom. If your steel pipes are if your plumber is used steel pipes in your bathroom, when you open the tap, water will come. When you suddenly close the tap, then you will see one sound, cut cut cut. One sound you will observe in the bathroom when you use a steel pipes. Okay, then that knocking comes because you closed the valve. Then when you suddenly close the valve, then there will be arrest in the flow. When there is a arrest in the flow, there will be some hammer effect on the valve. That hammer effect will release this large amount of energy, and that large amount of energy cannot be escaped. Therefore it will hit the inside pipe. Okay, this is in your bathroom. A small diameter pipe is there. Some cut 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 hours will come, that sound will come and it will be nullified. Think if a pipe diameter is very huge, 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter, 5 meter. Okay, when you are supplying river water from one river to the other river, or supplying water to the big city, then you are using a big diameter pipes. There if you suddenly close, then what happens there? It won't cut sound, it won't produce any cut sound. There will be dum sound. Therefore the entire pipe system may be burst. Therefore we need to reduce that momentum to zero. How to reduce the momentum to zero? Making that velocity zero. Therefore we need to use some valve. Those valves are called as zero velocity valves. These zero velocity valves will reduce the velocity of the water gradually to the zero, so that momentum will be made zero, so that the effect or the damages by water hammer can be or water hammer can be controlled. Next one is scour valve. These are similar to blow off valve. Blow off valve you've seen, drain valves, same like that only. That is also hand operated. You can operate, if it is a small in size, you can operate it by hand, or you can put some motor arrangement or some gear arrangement also you can put. They are ordinary valves operated by hand, as I said. It is placed at a depression in a pipeline. Wherever the pipe is in depression, there you will put this valve. For example, why? Because in the depression there will be collection of mud or sludge, and these mud and sludge you need to remove it. You need to get it out. Therefore, you are using this one. When you open this one, it will scour, means a large amount of water with high velocity it will come out. When it come out, even it will bring that mud and dust, sludge, everything it will bring it out. Okay. For that purpose we are using this one. You can ask a question, sir, why can't we use a normal valve here? Why we call it as a scour valve? Because when that huge amount of mud and slurry or sludge, when it comes, it will damage your accessories, it will damage your pipe system. Therefore we have to use a scour valve. It is so designed that when a muddy water or sludge water come out with a high pressure, it won't get damaged easily. Therefore we use scour valves. Then ball valves. Ball valves, usually you might be seen this one in your plastic taps. Plastic taps, you just take it, wastage taps will be there, just you take it and open it. Inside you will see one ball. That ball will be having open end at both sides, and the other side it will be in a ball shape. When you rotate this one, this diameter and pipe diameter will merge each other and flow happens. When you rotate in a 90-degree in the other direction, then it will obstruct the flow. Then you can stop the water. This is called as a ball valves. Okay, they have their own advantages and disadvantages, no problem. Then fire hydrants. Fire hydrants, usually nowadays in a small towns, in villages, what we do, we call fire persons, fire police, we call to them and we will say that there is a fire break, please come. Then they will come with their vehicles and they will put off the fire. But in the metropolitan cities and all, very big developed cities, there what they do, every 100 meters and 150-meter apart, in the pipeline, in the distribution system only, they will put this valve. Okay, the diagram I will add it later. They will put this valve, so that if there is a fire break near to that fire hydrant, directly you can put up connect a pipe here and you can put off the fire. Its arrangement you can see here. This is a pipe, water pipe or supply pipe, and this is connected to that pipe. Here one valve is there and here one nut is there. You rotate this nut, then this will lift up. When this lift up, this water will come here and it will be pumped. You can put a pump here if you want high velocity, or if a distribution system itself is made with high pressure, then you will get a high pressure only at the outlet. Okay, these are fire hydrants. There are two types. They are called as flush hydrants and post hydrants. You can go through that one. Requirement of good hydrant is, obviously it should be very cheap. easy to connect with a hose or motor pump, then easily detachable and reliable. Okay. Then after that, a last pipe appurtenances accessories, that is your water meter. Usually nowadays in as I said, in developed cities, they are applying this water meter. This water meter usually it will measure how much water you are consuming, how much it is supplied and how much it is consuming, so that they can charge water. Per liter this much, okay, they can charge it. Or even if they don't charge, if they are supplying freely, at least they will come to know how much water individual is consuming, or per that residential or industry they are consuming, they will come to know. Now we will study about pipe materials. What all type of materials in market it is available. It is a general topic. Metallic pipes are available and non-metallic pipes are available. Metallic pipes means the pipes manufactured by using metals. In that also, unlined metallic pipes are also there, and lined metallic pipes are also there. Lined means what? The pipe will be there, inside some coating will be made. If the coating is made, that is called as lined metallic pipes, and if coating is not made, then it is called as unlined. Say for example, normal cast iron pipes, whatever you purchase it, inside also cast iron, outside also cast iron, only one material is used, then that is called as unlined metallic pipes. Galvanized iron pipes also there, mild steel also there, ductile steel also there. Understood? These all are based on metals used. Okay, they are metallic pipes. Then metallic pipes lined with cement mortar or epoxy lining. Inside the pipe you can see sometimes cement mortar is coated, sometimes not only inside, sometimes even outside also. Why? Because the outside diameter of the pipe, outer diameter of the pipe will be exposed to soil. Soil will be having many chemicals inside, some even oxygen, air, some groundwater chemicals will be there. Those chemicals, when they come in contact with these metals, there will be corrosion or degradation of these metals, reaction takes place. To avoid that one, the outer cover of the pipes will be lined means coated by using cement mortar or some epoxy lining. Epoxy means some, again, one coating pigment, coating agent that they can coat it. Non-metallic pipes, usually RCC pipes are there, reinforced pipes are there. Cages they will make and they will put concrete. Pre-stressed concrete pipes are there. Bar wrapped steel cylinders are there, and asbestos cement pipes are there. And some other types like in plastic pipes, PVC is there. Polyethylene pipes are there. Glass reinforced plastics are there, and plastic pipes are there, and UPVC pipes are there. Again, you can have nowadays in modern technology, we have many types of pipes. You need to think why we have a different metals in metallic pipes, why we are using different materials in non-metallic pipes. This all depends on the purpose you are using these. Okay, if you are using for water supply and you are putting that, I will explain it later, no problem. Then cast, you can see the figures here, cast iron pipes, and this is a galvanized iron pipes, and this is a ductile iron pipes, and this is a mild steel pipes. Okay, and you see here inside and outside you will see without coating. Understood? Here reinforced concrete pipes, this is a RCC pipes, and asbestos cement pipes, this is a cement pipes, PVC plastic pipes, and this is a pre-stressed pipes. Pre-stressed means you will study this one in final semester. Pre-stressed means when they manufacture this one, they will induce some stress inside, so that when it gets extra stress, it will be managed. That concept pre-stress technology, it's a very advanced technology in civil engineering that we will study in final year. And here you can say this is your polyethylene pipes, and this is a HDPE, some again advanced technology, and this is the bar wrapped steel cylinder pipes. Here steel bars are wrapped along around the pipes. Okay, again as I said that why we have these many types of pipes, that you need to think and you need to answer. Few guidelines I'll give here in factors selecting pipeline materials. Here I will explain some guidelines, and you need to work out one thing, that is advantages and disadvantages of each and every materials of pipes. Okay, and you need to list them. They are very important, but I don't go through that one. Why? Because when I explain these factors in selecting pipeline, then after studying you will definitely come to know what are the advantages and disadvantages of a particular pipe materials. Okay, now factors in selecting pipeline materials. You, for example, you are in a water supply scheme and your boss asks you to purchase some pipes. Then what are factors you need to see and you need to purchase the pipes? That all it is covered here. First one is the flow characteristics. You need to check. The friction head loss is dependent on the flow characteristics of the pipes. Friction loss you studied in fluid mechanics. Darcy-Weisbach equations you know. There a friction factor comes. That friction factors depends on the materials used in the pipe. If you are using a concrete pipe, there will be a rough surface inside. Then when water flows through the concrete pipe, then there will be a more loss in the due to friction. Therefore, if you want to avoid the friction, then you need to go to the smooth pipes. Therefore, selection of the pipe depends on flow characteristics. Then pipe strength. Select the pipe with working pressure, bursting pressure, rating adequate to meet the operating conditions of the system. Standard water pipes are satisfactorily useful, usually only low pressure water supply system. Okay, I will explain in general. In the strength of material, this is what called as a multidisciplinary concept. In strength of material, you know one chapter that is called as thick and thin cylinders. In thick and thin cylinders, you studied hoop stress, bursting stress, and longitudinal stress. These are stresses you studied, and there also you come across this pressure, fluid pressure only you come across that term. Means you need to decide, you need to first determine what is your pressure you are allowing that water flowing through the pipe. Based on the pressure, you need to select the pipe material. If the pressure is very high, then low strength pipe if you provide, it will burst. Okay, if your pipe material is very costly and it is very strengthy, and you are supplying a normal water system, with normal low pressure, then it is uneconomical. Therefore, pipe strength also matters while selecting. Durability, then design period you studied. For how many years your water system you are installing? If it is for 30 years, then you need to choose a material which should sustain for 30 years. Then next one is a type of soil. As I said that some soils are acidic in nature, some soils are alkaline in nature, some soils are neutral, some soils are with some chemically mixed. When they come in contact with some metal pipes, then they will create some reaction and they will causes the corrosion. To avoid that one, you need to take care of that also. Availability, these are all very important. These all properties, these four are very important properties you need to control them in manufacturing only, or you need to control and you need to technically decide. Technical decision is required, but these are overall general common sense you can apply and you can select the pipe. Availability: select local manufactured and or fabricated pipes wherever available. If your water system plant is in Belgium, then why to purchase pipes from Bangalore, you know? Then here some manufacturer are there, you can ask them to prepare pipes for you for your requirement and they will prepare it. Cost of the pipes also you can prefer. And if you are purchasing pipes from Bangalore and you are estimating, then the if cost is very less compared to Belgium, then you can purchase it, no problem. Weight of the pipe: because you need to lift the pipes from one point to another point, you require cranes, you require bulldozers, you require manpower, therefore that also you need to think and you need to decide. Depth and width of the trench: if you bury your bury, okay, if you bury your pipes into very deeper level, then you put a lot of soil on that one. Then that pipe should withstand that uh, effective overburden pressure. Then again you need to go to the geotechnical and study that effective overburden pressure at that level. Then your pipe should withstand that pressure. These are all the factors you should consider while selecting the pipes. Thank you, Magitu.
Angelo, Hakuj. Angelo! Steven? Hakuj. Hakuj! Hakujやらないなさなかのとりしゃばらかのとりなすたかのとりやらへやのばか
Now we will go to distribution system. We'll go to distribution system. That is the last part of this module 5. What are the essential requirements of good distribution network? Some points are there here. It should be capable of supplying the requisite amount of water at adequate pressure head for the domestic industrial uses and during firefights. Okay, understand this one. When you provide a distribution system, you should see some factors. What are those? You should require how much demand is there. That demand should be fulfilled through that distribution system. And the second one is whether the purpose is domestic or industrial, that you need to think. If the industrial system is there, then diameter will be more, pressure will be more, velocity will be more, and that you can think. And in domestic purpose, then diameter will be very less, pressure will be moderate, and sometimes intermittent supply is there, then only 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 24 hours a day, like that you can supply. That also you have to consider. That is one requirement of good distribution system. Next, the layout should be such that no consumer would be without a water supply during the repair of any section of the system. Very important. आजकल जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम ऐसा रहता है कि आपका घर में पानी नहीं आया, तब रीज़न क्या देते हैं वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मतलब वाटर सप्लाई वाला क्या बोलते हैं रीज़न? वो बोलते हैं कि कहीं पे एक पाइप लीकेज हो रहा है या डैमेज हुआ है, टूटा हुआ है, तो इसलिए आज आपका घर में पानी नहीं आएंगे. ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. If you are a good engineer, this problem should not come. You should have an alternate arrangement. At least near to that house, you should supply that water. Not to the exactly to that particular house. Near to house, you need to supply that water. In that alternate arrangement, you should have in your distribution system. Okay, that is your during repair, you should provide that water to the consumer. All the distribution pipes should be preferably laid 1 meter away or above the sewer lines. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, आपका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम, यूजुअली हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम के लिए कंक्रीट पाइप यूज करते हैं, कंक्रीट पाइप्स। देन कंक्रीट पाइप में क्या होगा, तो उसमें कुछ कंक्रीट पाइप यूज करो या सीवेज पाइप यूज करो, सॉरी स्टील पाइप यूज करो, मेटल पाइप्स। If you are using a concrete pipe, there will be some permeability, and your sewage line and water supply line both are very near to each other. If some damage happens to sewage line, that water may percolate through your water supply pipes. Therefore, they suggest you that the distribution pipes should be preferably laid 1 meter away or above the sewer lines. Okay, they should be very far from each other. It should be fairly watertight as to keep losses due to leakage to minimum. The always whenever you joint in distribution system means various diameters will be there, various bends will be there, various angles of bends will be there, various connections will be there. The everywhere the leakage should be very minimum. Okay, that you need to think, then only you can call it as a good water distribution network. During repair, it should not cause any obstruction to traffic, not to consumers also, not to traffic also. The pipeline should not be laid under highways, carriageways, but below footpaths. Always below footpaths you need to lay the water system pipes. Okay, you should not bury the pipelines, water pipelines below highway lines or carriageways. Okay, because heavy trucks, heavy load trucks will be moving, and definitely they will damage the pipes. The distribution system should be economical and easy to maintain and operate. Obviously, common sense says that it should be economical, easy to maintain and operate. These all considerations you should consider and suggest the distribution system. Okay. There are some systems of distribution system, that is, one is a dead end system, a radial system, grid iron system, and ring system. That I will explain by considering figures. This one is a dead end system. It is also called as a tree system or branch network. You can see this is the mains. This is a mains. Mains means what? Large diameter pipe, not conduits. Conduits is a very large diameter pipe. Mains means from the treatment plant water is coming like this, and from here it will divert and it will go, and here it will supply to some houses, and after that it will again divert, and here it will supply some houses, and it will again divert, stop. It is a dead end. Understood? This is dead end means water when it comes here, it will supply here and it will stop there. It won't come back, because obviously if you provide it in a gravitational flow, then water is flowing and it will stop here only. This is one demerit of this dead end. Okay, and see here some water is dead, here dead storage, here dead storage, here every dead end there the water will store there only, and again starts contamination and all. Okay, this is the dead end storage system. But still in some cities we prefer, based on merits and demerits, we need to think and we need to provide this one. Here only I explained that advantages and disadvantages. You can pause the video and go through this one. Next system is a radial system. Radial system, you can see here, this is the mains. Mains means what? Large diameter pipe. From the treatment plant, through mains water is coming, and that water goes to some from one point to one pipe goes to the center, and there it will radially distributes. Okay, here again it goes there and radially distributes. Here goes and radially distributes. Here you can see there is no dead end. The water which comes here and the water which comes here, they can meet each other, and if the pressure is more this side, then they can go here and meet these purposes also. Therefore it is not dead end. Okay, So it can circulate inside. Okay, the area is divided into different zones. That zones are there, and the water is pumped into the distribution reservoir, usually elevated, and kept in a near middle of each zone. The supply pipes are laid radially ending. Oh, you can read it. If I read, you will get bored. Pause it and read it. Very easy. Then advantages and disadvantages. Next one is the grid iron system. Grid iron system means, as usual, grids are made. Your streets are there, and then colonies are there. Based on that, grids are made, and pipes will come. These main pipes, and from that sub mains, and from that branches it will go. Again, it is not a dead end. It is also closed end. Means water can circulate from one point to another point. Then again, advantages and disadvantages, you can pause and read. Okay, they are self-explanatory, therefore I am not reading them. It doesn't mean that I cannot explain, but they are self-explanatory. Circular or ring distribution system. Circular or ring means here the main pipe is outer periphery, and your sub mains and distributions are connected to this one. This we will use it for very large cities. For example, a big city is there, then you can put a mains outside the city as a periphery, and from there you can connect the sub mains and branches. Again, pause the video and read the advantages and disadvantages. Next, coming to the method of water distribution. There are the water distribution network methods, and this is a method of distribution. For efficient distribution system, adequate water pressure required at various points depending upon the level of source, topography of the area, and other local conditions. The water may be forced into the distribution system by following ways. Okay, water may be forced into the distribution system. While explaining pumps, I explained you, always water should flow from reservoir, that is the service reservoir, to the distribution system in gravity only. Only in exceptional cases you should use pumps, and if exceptional cases are in between, then you can use a combined system also. Therefore, depending on the flow of water, we are dividing a distribution system into three methods, that is a gravity system, pumping system, and combined gravity and pumping system. Gravity system, the word itself tells that, the term itself tells that the 100% of flow from one point to another point in the system, it will move only due to gravity. No external pressure is applied. Okay, in this system, the gravity force is used to distribute water from source at higher elevation to the lower level zone consumers. This eliminates the need of pumping altogether. Pumping is not required at all. The method is economical, obviously, reliable, of course, and requires less maintenance. Exactly. Right? Method is economical, obviously, reliable, of course, and requires less maintenance. Exactly. For proper working of system, the difference of head available between the service reservoir and the low level zone should be sufficient to develop enough pressure at a consumer's tap. This method also minimizes wastage and leakages. Very important. I would like to recall one chapter in fluid mechanics. In fluid mechanics, HGL and TEL you have studied. Total energy line, hydraulic gradient line. By using HGL and TEL, you need to take care of pressure through the distribution system. If you don't know how to work with the TEL and HGL, then of course you cannot provide a good water distribution system. Therefore, and that too gravitational system. Therefore, you have to be very thorough with that what your HGL and TEL before coming to water distribution system. And even in hydraulics, HHM or your advanced fluid mechanics in fourth semester you studied, there Hardy-Cross method you studied. That concept is also very essential and very important when you deal with the water distribution system. Okay, they are all connected to each other. When you go higher semester to higher semester, then you cannot forget the previous subjects. See here in water distribution system, even in fifth module, water treatment plant, I come across hoop stresses, bursting stress, longitudinal stress, these stresses, thick and thin cylinders I come across. When you bury a pipe into a deeper soil strata, then you require effective stress. That is your overburden pressure and geotechnical knowledge is required. When you come in a distribution system, you require Hardy-Cross method, losses in the pipes, Darcy-Weber equations and all. Fluid mechanics is required. And when you come to RCC pipes, then again you want to study the RCC, that is a bend, that is a flexural stiffness you need to provide to the pipes and all. Everywhere when you become a civil engineer, you should know each and everything and enter into one field. Obviously, definitely you will win the challenges over the challenges. Okay, gravity systems, as I said, the entire thing will be with a gravity, and pumped systems for distribution system. Pumped system means what? See, you can see a storage tank is there, treatment plant, storage tank, and from this your village or your industry is at a higher elevation and you need to pump it. Okay, only in exceptional cases. See, ground level is in higher elevation. And it has then after that combined, it has their own merits and demerits. You can study that one. I think draft, maximum draft, minimum draft. Here TEL, HGL they have drawn here. You can see that one. Combined gravity and pumping. Combined gravity and pumping, you are using here overhead tanks. The water coming from the treatment plant, you are pumping it to overhead tanks. Water coming from the treatment plant, you are pumping it to the overhead tanks. From the overhead tanks, you are allowing it to gravitational flow. Okay, therefore combined is there here. Okay, now distribution reservoir or overhead tank or service reservoir, that we are discussing now. Distribution reservoirs are also called as service reservoirs or the storage reservoirs, which store the treated water for supplying water during emergencies such as during fires and repairs, and also to help the absorbing the hourly fluctuations in normal water demand. Okay, distribution reservoirs, whenever you design it, I will take some examples, some graphs we need to draw, and we need to decide the capacity of the distribution reservoirs. Okay, ऐसे हो जाता है ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक कॉलोनी है उधर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक रिलीजियस कॉलोनी ही लेता हूँ, एक मुस्लिम कॉलोनी है, एक हिंदू कॉलोनी है, एक फॉर एग्जाम्पल सम इंडस्ट्रियल कॉलोनी है. जब रमज़ान आ जाएगा तो इधर मुस्लिम कॉलोनी में बहुत ज़्यादा पानी चाहिए होता है. जब होली आ जाएगा तो यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा पानी आ जाता है. देन व्हेन Hindu people are playing Holi, then the water they are drawing very huge amount of water. It should not so happen that the other colony are not getting the water, or if some water industry is there and there they are drawing large amount of water, and you people, domestic people are not getting the water. This should not happen. But you cannot estimate these things. Sometimes it so happens that in a one particular area there might be a very huge fire breakout. When you want to put off the fire, then you want large amount of water, when you drag the water, when you draw the water, it should not so happen that the other domestic areas they are not getting the water. It should not like that. No, therefore your distribution system should consider even those hourly fluctuations also, season fluctuations also, festival fluctuations also, fluctuations also. These all things you need to consider and provide the distribution system. Then only you are a good civil engineer. Otherwise ordinary pass, no? Then functions of distribution reservoirs: to observe the hourly fluctuations, to maintain constant pressure, and to store the water to meet the demand and all. The location and height of the distribution systems that you can read out. Types of reservoirs: we have surface reservoirs and elevated reservoirs. Surface reservoirs you can put at the higher elevation, and these reservoirs are constructed on the ground itself, and elevated reservoirs are made with some pillars or some columns and it is elevated, and that you can go through this one. These are all general concept. This is your surface or ground reservoir. And types of tanks: RCC tanks, they have a long life, very little maintenance, decent appearance. And GI tanks, by using some metals they will make it. Life of a tank is short because corrosion happens, corrosion of a material, maintenance cost may be more. Then HDPE, nowadays these tanks are used. Handling is used easy because of lightweight and cheap. This module 5 is somewhat a theory oriented module. Here we will get a problems on only in design of pumps and design of storage reservoirs. Okay, that is service reservoirs. There we will get some graphs and some problems, and design of pumps we will get, and rest all the things are theory only. I might be missed some advantages and disadvantages. I might be given you some homework or some self-explanatory paragraphs. I might be skipped here and there, but please go through that. They all are not a standard explanation is required, as I think. Therefore, they are self-explanatory. Just prefer any textbook and you will get it. And I will definitely concentrate on problems on pumps and service reservoirs. Okay. In next videos, we will concentrate on those things. Thank you.